This is the back to lay and lay to back strategy. This is a 2-in-1 bot and it's going to be used on the horse racing market. It's not just for the horse racing market, it can be for any market, but for this example it's going to be for the horses. As mentioned, it's a 2 bots in 1, and nomination 1 is going to be a back to lay. This is where you back first and then lay off at a lower price, and nomination 2 is going to be the reverse. It's going to be a lay to back, and these bets will be placed in the pre-off. So for this example, nomination 1 back to lay is going to have a 25% offset, which means you're looking for selections that's going to drop 25% or lower, and once it hits that 25% offset, it's then going to green up across the board for an even split. And nomination 2 is a lay to back, again with a 25% offset, but this time we've added in lay by liability. And lay by liability means the maximum that you can lose is your stake. And what we're going to do as well, we're going to make sure that we keep any unmatched bets going in play. If we don't keep it, what's going to happen is once the market goes in play, the offsets that we've got, the 25% offsets, will be erased. So you'll just have an open bet in the market. So we're going to set this to trigger a few times just to make sure that all bets are kept going in play. We're not going to add any stop losses or trailing stop to this. I'm going to save that for a later video. But a stop loss basically means if the price goes against you, then it will stop you out for the loss. And a trailing stop means it will pull up the stop loss behind you, and then once it reverses, it will then stop you out at that price. Well, this is something that we can save for another video. This is a very simple bot. But with all bots, you must test them thoroughly in practice mode first, just to iron out any problems. And with that being said, let's move on and create this bot from scratch. So the first thing we need to do when creating automation is to open the market that it's intended for. So as we are creating the bot for the back to lay and lay to back on the horse race markets, that's what we're going to do. We're going to open that now. So if we go down to quick picks and add, it doesn't really matter if the races are finished. It is just as long as we can highlight one of them and then we can create it for the selected market. So that's what we're going to do now. We're just going to select create new rules file for selected market, and there we go. We have ourselves a blank canvas. There's just going to be 3 rules in this particular bot. It's very basic. So the first thing we want to do is the back to lay nomination. First, what we need to do, we need to give the rule a name. So if we say back to lay in nomination 1, and the rule type is going to be a back bet, and we want this in relation to the event start time, so we want it to occur 5 minutes before, until a minute. We want this to trigger just once, we don't want multiple bets going in the market, and we can make it wait 5 seconds. It doesn't really matter, it's only going to trigger once anyway. So then we need to apply the selection. As you see, we can select it by name, by row of index in Betfair order, position order of favoritism, any selection or nomination. We're going to go nomination. On the right hand side you'll see there are 2 nominations. There's nomination selection 1 and nomination selection 2 just out of view. So this one is going to be Guardian nomination selection 1. And And once we've done that, we're going to move over to the parameters. So we're going to place this bet at the best market price and the fixed amount of £50. And what we're doing with this bot, we are giving it an offset of 25%. So if you come down to action, you see there's different things that you can apply. Offset bet and stop, trailing stop, green, etc, etc. We're just using offset bet with greening. And then rather than tick size, we're going to go a percentage. We want to be 25% below the current price. And we're going to apply. And then what we're going to do, we're going to add a 60-second fill or kill. That just makes sure that the offset bet doesn't go in before the main bet is matched. We can apply that again. And conditions. We're only going to have one condition, and that's going to be the number of match bet condition for the selection is equal to 0. We don't want any bets on this market. And this is a fail-safe as well, just in case you trigger the bot twice. It's not going to put the bet in twice because there will already be a bet in the market, so it will dismiss putting a second bet in. And then again, we can go ahead and apply. Now moving on to the second part of the automation, we're going to put a lay to back in nomination 2. So to do that, we can either start that from scratch by adding a new rule, or we can just copy rule number 1 and then just edit it slightly. So that's what we're going to do. So now we need to change this to lay to back. And we're going to change it to a lay bet. Everything else is still the same. And we need to make sure that that's in Guardian Selection 1 as well. So parameters. The parameters of this, we're going to take the best market price again, but we're not going for fixed amount this time because it's a lay bet. What we want to do is we want to fix by liability. And as I mentioned earlier, the reason why I've chose to do this is because it will cap your liability on your lay side at your stake of £50. And this is totally optional, of course. This is just an example, and when you're creating your own, you can do as you wish. Again, we're going to offset bet with greening at 25% and a fill or kill of 60 seconds delay. And again, the number of match bet condition on the selection is equal to 0, as we don't want this to go in twice if you reload the markets again. And now the last thing we need to do is make sure all the unmatched offsets are kept going into play. And to do this, just click Add New Rule. Rule name, keep all. And then the rule type is we want to keep all unmatched bets. We want this to trigger 20 seconds before the off and 20 seconds after. And to make sure we are super safe, we can have this trigger multiple times, and you can have it trigger 1,000 times if you wanted to. It doesn't really make a difference, providing it's kept once, then your bet will be kept in play. So let's keep it 20 times. Wait 2 seconds, and we're going to have this on any selection and apply. And then that's it. That's the bot created. and then you can save it as whatever you like. So let's just give it a name. So LCT B2L non-1 and L2B non-2, 25%. And we press OK, and that's it. The automation has now been created, ready for you to apply to your markets. And in the gold video, you can see this automation in action. And it's available to download on the strategy page. So now that we've created some automation, we're going to add the automation rules file, and what we're going to do is the nomination selection 1, nomination selection 2 on the horse racing. Let's just pick some nominations at random, totally random, no research. This is just to see the automation firing as it should.
This event will start in 5 minutes. 5 minutes.
So as you see, we just adjusted the start time. We changed it to 5 minutes, so we're banging on the 5 minute mark.
This event is now in play,
and it was kept, and now we've just gone in play, and let's see how this one plays out. Again, this is totally random. There is no form taken into consideration. I just closed my eyes and picked. (1:25) into the race, and it's looking like the 1.78, so this 7.8 is going to be matched, and there we go, £16.44 profit across the board. The next race now just coming to the 5 minute mark, so this time the layback went in, and it had the offset back bet out of 7. We're just going to show you now how the keep all rule works. As you can see at the minute it says cancel, and there we go, it has now switched to keep.
10 seconds. This event is now in play.
And 4 seconds into the race, that matched more or less straight away. Because you're backing by or laying by liability, the profit that you're going to return is not great.
This event will start
so
in
again,
5
another
minutes.
totally random
5
race. And it just shows how consistent the automation is at working when you've totally took your hands off the wheel. So the bet went in, the offset is 7.4 for the lay bet. And at this point, just before the off, you could actually take a profit of £9.
This event is now in play.
Allowing for it to run in play. We're not going to get emotionally involved. That's the idea of automation. And within 15 seconds, the offset was matched, and £16.71 across the board. So this is a very simple yet effective piece of automation. Please follow along, create it yourself, or download it from the strategy page.